Joining me now in the studio for further analysis is former British senior military intelligence and security officer Philip Ingram. Philip, good to see you. OK, let's start with what is actually going on in Gaza right now, because, of course, the airstrikes are continuing.
Yeah, in Gaza, and more reports of Israeli airstrikes into, and this is a marketplace. And what we're seeing is huge amounts of destruction with lots of civilians around. We have to recognise that Israel is not just preparing the ground for the ground offensive, but they're also targeting the locations where missiles are being fired to against Israel on a nightly basis. You're not seeing this sort of damage in Israel because most of the missiles have been shot down by the Iron Dome system that's protecting them. And Hamas will put military headquarters, weapons manufacturing capabilities inside civilian infrastructure because they want the international community to see these sorts of pictures with civilians and ideally with bodies of women and children being carried out. That suits their purpose in what they're doing.
And Philip, I mean, we're obviously focusing on Gaza, understandably, but there's a lot of instability in the West Bank as well, and there's been a strike there as well in other locations. What can you tell us?
Yes, the strike into a mosque in Jenin. Now, I've seen Israeli airstrike to destroy a Hamas cell that they'd identified that was in there. I've seen a video of the mosque and where the strike went in, and it looked like a very precision-guided attack that was in there. And these are the pictures of the mosque itself. You know, little damage to the outside. I think a lot of that damage is historical, but inside the building, in the particular area that they were targeting, quite significant damage. Jenin is interesting. It's got historical links back into the Palestinian fight against the Israelis from the Israeli raid on the Jenin refugee camp in 2002, whenever the terrorists that were there at the time were recognised that the use of asymmetric warfare had a big impact on the Israeli forces that were coming in and managed to create a large number of Israeli casualties. Of course, you have to recognise that the West Bank is run by the Palestinian Authority. That's different to Hamas. And the Palestinian Authority and Hamas split in 2007. And the Palestinian Authority still continue to rule in the West Bank. And the Palestinian president's recognised there, and he's recognised internationally. President Biden even went to meet him.
And I guess that just shows that what's happening in Gaza is obviously has the potential to escalate within the Palestinian territories and across the region. So when it comes to the diplomacy, even starting with a ceasefire, what can you tell us?
Well, the wider diplomacy bit, there's been a lot of efforts going in. We've seen international leaders coming into Israel, Joe Biden, Chancellor Scholz, Prime Minister Sunak, and trying to do things. We've had the Egyptian conference in the last few days, but diplomacy continues. And the diplomacy is really aimed at trying to stop things escalate. And we've got Grant Shapps with the US Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, at the moment in Washington. And I think something that Grant Shapps has said sums it up perfectly. The Hamas terrorist attacks and Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine shows the importance of deterring those who seek to inflame global instability. And here they're focusing very much on Iran. Iran is trying to stir things through a number of different countries, a number of different groups, and that's why the US has put 2 carrier battle groups into the Eastern Mediterranean. It's not to have any influence on what Israel's doing in its war against Hamas. It's to deter Iran and other players from getting involved.
Philip Ingram, former British senior military intelligence and security officer. Philip, as always, thank you.